Like you could go anywhere. If you know somebody in Rhode Island, they're close to you.
Yeah, I plan on living in Providence, and then you can easily get to Boston or New York for anything that you want to do.
Do you want to just be best friends and move to Providence?
Yes. I would like to live in an old house.
I'm gonna make it happen.
Yes! I can't have your cats, though. You can't have cats.
Alright, I guess not.
By the time we can afford it, they'll be dead anyway.
Very true.
Going to Misquamicut Beach every fucking day.
Get a little duplex. Well, half a house.
Yes!
Put my cats in half.
Oh, gotcha. I was gonna say, you could live in one half with your cats, and I can live in the other, and then
That's
we can,
what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay. And then we can have a door between it.
Oh yeah, I didn't mean a split between you and I on the side. The cats on the side.
Your cats do
That's
not
insane.
get a whole fucking house. I will
meant
fight
me
you.
with the cats on one side.
Yeah, but then we can make like some sort of like weird, like hamster cage situation where we have intros and outros of our houses.
That'd be
It's
fun.
the dream.
It's the dream. Neither of us want kids.
No.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Families.
What?
Alright, are we ready to go?
Yeah. Let's do this
Alright,
noise.
let's do this noise. Welcome once again to Noah Snark. We're two former religious types. Let me fix that. Welcome once again to Noah Snark. We're former religious types, and current snarks take a look at religious media on its own terms.
My name is Hillary.
And I am Josh, aka the Mark of the Best. And we have our favorite person back.
Yes. Welcome back, Hannah.
Hey, I'm back.
And I guess I realize the intro is not entirely accurate when I say it that way, even if I take out the number of people.
Right.
Because she is not formally religious.
Yes.
She's just not this.
Right. But she's got enough snark in her to be welcome.
She's got enough
here.
snark to absolutely be
I don't care
welcome.
what your snark's for. It's required.
Yeah, that's all.
Got some
Anything you want to catch us up on in the past month?
Man, well, not really.
Not really as an answer.
Just working, baking. That's about
You
it.
are a baker.
I
do
love
bake.
that.
Yeah.
I don't have the patience. Will you help me make buttermilk biscuits?
Yeah.
I have buttermilk, but I don't have any.
Flour.
I have
Biscuits.
plenty of flour. I'm
Skill.
not a baker. I don't really know how to make buttermilk biscuits off the top of my head or anything.
Well, you should watch more Great British Bake Off.
I also hate baking, so like
Oh, I love baking.
it requires so much like effort in a way cooking doesn't really.
I love baking. I hate cleaning up, so I do nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you made those meat pies for the Game of Thrones watch party.
And the only reason I don't do that more is because it requires a little bit more baking than I like.
You said that you will make me some.
I will. It's just I have to like
Yeah.
be
Get,
in the mood.
okay, well, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna make some more
So
soon.
fucking good.
Yeah,
They were amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. I do my best.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But let's talk about any hits and misses we have from previous episodes before we continue. Hannah, especially, I'm interested. The last one you were on, A Thief in the Night.
Yeah.
Did you hear it and you were like, here's things I missed or things I was very good at?
I missed. Well, I think I missed. I was so nervous. I told Josh this afterward. I'm like, I feel like I was so awkward and just like, so I think I missed like the social.
Right. Just, you know,
I was just so nervous.
you don't have to be intimidated by our celebrity.
No.
We're very down to earth people.
Oh, I know. It's just all in my head. So I was so nervous. That's the only thing listening to. I'm like, oh my God.
I thought you did fine.
I thought you were great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
But also, that is most people that come on the show. It takes them a second.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard to do. Our first episode was very different from what we're doing now.
Almost unlistenable. Some would say.
I would say.
I would say.
Because I would have to listen to it, and I was there.
Yeah. That's
Okay, anything from you?
No, I have no memories.
Yeah, I get that. I feel like I had something, but I too lost my memory of it.
Sweet.
So, whatever.
Whatever. I only just started listening to the last one we did.
Yeah, I finished it this morning.
So-
That's where it was from, the Superbook one.
There was something.
No idea what it was. Who cares?
Who
Let's talk
cares?
about what we are doing today and why we brought Hannah back specifically.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us
Yeah,
what we're
tell
doing
us,
today?
Hannah.
What's it called?
It's called A Distant Thunder.
Well
this
done.
is part 2 of
4.
Yeah. So there's 2 more.
Yahoo!
Yeah, we did A Thief in the Night last time I was here. So yeah, they progressively get worse.
But there are 4 in the series. I guess it's the Thief in the Night series.
Is that what it's called?
I guess so.
Officially?
I don't know if it has that sort
We
of...
can call it that. That's all that really
that's
matters.
what we're going to call it.
Yeah.
I believe this one was released as A Distant Thunder / A Thief in the Night 2. Mm-hmm. So, yes, I guess that's the series.
Yeah. And something about these titles, I can, immediately after I hear them or read them, gone from my brain.
Falls out of your head. Yep.
Yeah. I can't believe that you, without looking it up. Hold on. And it looks like you I could feel it. I'm like, oh, I wonder if she's gonna have to look it up. Because I'm like, please don't turn to me, Josh. I will have to look it up.
No, I assigned it to you. I wrote it down for what we're doing.
Right.
I still had to look it up when I was like, what are we doing?
I kept thinking shadow? Was there a shadow involved? I don't know why. Thunder and shadow in my head.
And as you know, like, I remember most things pretty well. But, like, you're right. These titles are completely forgettable.
Right.
I can remember Prodigal Planet, just because I guess it's alliterative.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what part it is. I think it's the 4th one. We're gonna watch the 3rd one eventually. I know what it's called. I don't remember right now.
They all have the same, like, amount of words.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Game of Thrones series.
Yeah.
It's like a blank for blank.
So, I don't know. We'll figure it out eventually. But that's what we're doing today. And as always, we're gonna try to describe it in one sentence. Anybody?
I'm gonna say the worst of the 70s.
I think it's because the 70s were dying at this point. So, like,
the 70s,
the death throes of the 70s.
as someone who did not live through it, I don't enjoy the best of the 70s. So I'm assuming I would not have enjoyed being alive then.
All right, I have a sentence.
Go.
I have a fever, and the only cure is more flashbacks.
You dork.
Oh, there were so many flashbacks.
That's the joke.
You did it.
Do you have one?
I would say worse, but better.
Worse but
Worse
better.
but better.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get it.
Behind
Yeah, it's both. It's one and the same.
It's clearly a better made movie.
Yeah.
It's also worse in every other aspect.
I could not keep my attention on it.
Yeah,
It wasn't as bad as Holy Man was in that realm,
that's true.
but I really struggled to pay attention. I have one note that I made to myself, and I don't remember making it. My one note is white Jason Mantzoukas, which I guess there's a character that looks like him. I don't know. I don't know what that means past Hillary.
That's the Frankensteinian monster. That's that woman's husband.
No, not Mustache Dude.
No?
No, there was I think there's somebody with like big hair, big
Yes.
curly hair.
I know who you're thinking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll talk about him.
Cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, worse but better
Yeah.
works because it is, honestly. It's like they figured out how to make a movie almost, but didn't figure out how to make anything interesting.
It's still
Good.
still painful.
Something you want to tell somebody.
Weird 70s voices,
Weird 70s faces.
weird 70s faces, outfits
All right, so
You know,
let's...
I will say the outfits actually, looking at them,
versus
like,
the first.
Oh,
yeah. I'm like, oh, maybe your budget was increased.
So was like the main girl the same girl?
Mhm.
She
think
lost
so.
a fair amount of weight and they dressed
did.
her better.
Yeah, her hair was up.
She wasn't
looked
wearing
a
that
little bit
Prego
more-
shirt she was
Yeah.
running in for an hour and a half in the last one.
Yeah. So they improved some things and still made it a nightmare. So let's talk about it. There's a song that starts us out. We are one in the spirit. We are one in the Lord. We are one in... It's just these
Except for
words.
with the scariest voices.
Oh, yeah. It's haunting, literally.
Haunting.
It's like a
So
haunted
scary.
church. It sings one hymn all night. And so that song opens us up, and then we are warned by a narrator. The motion picture you are about to experience is fiction. The prophecy is not. The producers of this film are not prophets. They are drawing to your attention what God has said in His own word. This film is based upon many references in the books of Daniel and Revelation, and upon a bunch of bullshit they read us. I'm not going to read the Bible to you.
This is where I started playing solitaire.
Yes. But after that narrator is done quoting Thessalonians at us, we find our main character from the previous film, Patty, crying in her cot at night. She looks like she's in an adult orphanage.
She does.
Yeah.
You're right.
Kind of scary.
And it's supposed to be.
Oh man, if they had rolled into a Hard Knock Life, this would have been a much better movie.
But it is supposed to be scary because we're going to find out that she is captured. She is not free to leave. This is not just some group of people she hooked up with. This is
Right.
a group of people she's stuck with.
Well, this is supposed to be after the last
Movie, yes.
movie, so she was Was she captured at the end of that movie?
No. So at the end of that movie,
she wakes up,
and the
right.
rapture has happened.
And this movie proves that my theory of her Groundhog Daying it is wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
But this movie, to just let everyone know ahead of time, is 85, 90% flashback.
Yes.
So-
And we learn in these flashbacks in this whole movie that the first movie we watched was just a dream and pointless.
Well, it wasn't pointless. I believe it gave her the information she needed to slightly avoid that fate.
Yes,
And
that's
she
a
got this one instead.
whole movie was just a flashback. Leading to a movie full of flashbacks.
Yes.
It is mind-boggling.
But we're basically going to find out how she wound up to where she is now through a bunch of flashbacks. And we get Inception flashbacks, because we have flashbacks in flashbacks.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah.
So it's a jumble.
It's painful.
One of her friends, Winda, and that's really the only person I'm going to name in this movie.
I didn't even know she existed.
We haven't talked about already. Winda comes by and she says, Patty, because Patty's crying so hard. She's like, Patty, just go ahead and do it. I'm like,
Yeah.
is she telling her to kill herself? I was
Do
like,
it.
That's what I thought at first. Do what?
genuine concern. I was like, that's not supportive.
Yeah.
But what they really want her to do is accept the Lord, because that's what Patty's crying about. She just can't bring herself to accept Jesus, and that's the problem that she's having. And, somehow she's wound up locked up in this prison for Christians, despite the fact that they're all here because they refuse to take the mark of the beast. Because they're believers. But she's not a believer. She still won't take it. It's a little whatever. And, if you want a lot of the details on this, because this all harkens back to her prophetic dream from the last movie, is you're either going to have to listen to that episode or watch that movie. I would recommend the episode myself.
Me too, and
It
not
was-
even just for self-promotion.
Yes, it was 4 episodes ago. This is a month apart, so
There you go.
it should be able to easy to find. So she knows what will happen to her if she takes the mark of the beast. Basically, she'll go to hell forever. But she still can't bring herself to accept Jesus because she's really mad at God, partially, and I think reasonably, because she had this prophetic dream about things that are going to happen.
Right.
And then when she woke up, it had already happened. It was too late.
The night
like-
before.
She's like, what the fuck, God?
God's a dick.
She's like, you can't send me fucking prophetic dreams. And then be like, you missed your deadline.
Should have slept in.
Yeah, why didn't you just let me sleep then? Shit. And again, I think she's absolutely correct. Like,
Right.
why would you do this to me? That's just taunting.
Yes.
All right, but
She's aggressively agnostic.
she is. And it's not even. It's really weird because her position is
She does believe that she'll go to hell. She
Right.
really believes she'll go to hell if she gets the
Right.
thing, which means, it should mean, that she also believes in the other side, which is the way to avoid it.
yeah.
Yeah. But
I
she can't commit.
Right. But that's the whole premise of this movie right there. So,
It's weird because, like you said, she absolutely believes it, and like, so are the rules that you have to believe it but be happy about it? Because technically, she's set for life right now.
no, she's not, no, because she hasn't accepted Jesus into her heart, Josh.
She accepts
the-
that everything he said was true.
No, she doesn't. She accepts that the way she said it, but the bad things are true. She hasn't accepted
Yeah.
the good part, which is bizarro.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, by fair, I mean that's ridiculous.
Well, yeah.
Your point
Why, thank you.
is fair
I agree.
in this bizarre situation they've set up for this movie. So she's stuck between not really believing but still believing all the bad news about the one world order that is Unite. And this group of people that are around her are trying to aid her in her journey to Christ. But she yells that she couldn't possibly love a God that has made all these horrible things happen. And how could you? I don't even understand. And she's answered that these days of tribulation are just God's way of letting evil destroy itself. And of course she's threatened with hell again. Someone literally says like, be careful, you'll end up in hell. Because anyone who refuses to accept the truth of Jesus goes to hell. And Patty, perhaps appropriately, points out that that's not a choice. You fucking rude idiots. Because literally, this guy's like, watch out for hell. And she's like, that's not... If my options are nonsense and hell, that's not a real choice.
Right.
She makes my point, which is, sure you got a nice soul you got there.
I will say she's a lot more feisty this
Super
Yeah.
movie.
She really stands her
Really?
ground more, a lot
Yeah.
less wishy-washy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay,
I can get
at
behind
least
that.
you stand behind your beliefs.
That's true. Because in the last movie, Patty was the fence sitter. where
Yeah.
Diane was the rejecter and her other friend was
Right.
the firm believer. And Patty was just like, meh.
She was Mama Bear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah.
But this time, yeah, Patty's like, nah, fuck you, fuck Jesus, fuck your ideas, fuck the pastor, and fuck the one world government.
She's fucking mad.
She's just mad at
She
everybody.
ain't gonna take it no more.
But she's basically forced to deal with the situation, which is she gets killed tomorrow, probably, by Unite, or she goes ahead and accepts the Lord, and she might get something, even worse later on. She'll have to live with it, but she'll get to die and go to heaven. Nice soul you got there. Mm-hmm. Let's make sure you take care of it. And so now we're going to get some flashbacks. And we quickly catch up with the events of the previous movie, and we learn that Patty's prophetic dream about the rapture and the New World Order happened in the same night that her husband had accepted Christ for himself. So that little scene in the last movie where he's like, I'm into this stuff. That was the day before.
Yeah.
Which I feel like the montage cover, but I'm not going to watch it again to find out. But she didn't even get a grace period of, her husband trying to convince her for a day or two. He got it right underneath the needle there.
Yeah, that's actually the guy that God was waiting for. He's like, got him.
When that guy gets...
Yeah, I like this one.
But it is important to remember that she had this dream and then woke up to find out that all of the events of her dream were in motion already. Mm-hmm. So one has to wonder why she even had the dream. Who is this for?
What did I even start this podcast talking about? We just watched an entire movie. For no reason. In the series, for the series' sake, the first movie does not need to exist.
Yeah. And, they do bring it back. There are elements of this movie that pertain to it.
Right.
But, yeah, there was no function.
That
really.
whole first movie could have been the opening scene, which was, a montage of, her maybe, thrashing in bed and, being
true.
like, oh, and then she wakes up, she's like, what a crazy dream.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Tack on 10 to 15 more minutes to this movie.
Yeah, it would have made a 90-minute movie.
Done.
But I'm fortunate that it was only 75, so...
But it would have saved us another 90 minutes.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
The last one was, 65?
If I was going to crunch the numbers, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, Hillary's right. This could have been a 3-part series. So, we catch up with Patty from 4 years ago. That's how long it's been since the rapture. And she mostly cries in her empty house because her husband's gone before she jumps into her fancy 70s muscle car. And she drives into the city while basically audio from everywhere just preaches Bible stuff at us and talks about the rapture. Mm-hmm. I didn't retain any of it.
No.
Because I was like, I'm typing notes. I'm just like, I don't care about that. I've heard it all before.
Yeah, I was drifting very early.
And so it turns out that Patty was headed over to Ginny's house, who we had learned in the previous movie was her very religious friend and was also raptured. Mm-hmm. So Patty cries again when she gets there because she finds her mixer still mixing because she had disappeared doing it.
Because the electronics, that's how we know.
That's how you know.
Yeah.
Wait, I have a very important question.
Yes.
When she jumped out of her red car to run inside, there was something on the ground.
Yes.
And she gasped, oh,
That was the most hilarious part of the movie,
What was
by
it?
the way.
No, I didn't know either.
I
was
rewound it
It
twice.
was Ginny's daughter's doll that she had been carrying.
It's like plastic wrap.
It looked like melted ice cream to me next to a doll, but it was a...
Right, because remember in the first one, I thought that she had ice cream.
I think they thought she had ice cream.
It didn't look like ice cream or a doll. I seriously couldn't figure it out, so I thought...
Excellent question.
it was-
I still don't feel like it's answered.
It was the thing that the girl was carrying when
Okay.
she got raptured.
But why would she know that that's what the daughter was carrying? It's
Right.
just to her garbage.
It's just
Yeah.
her garbage. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But it was, what you mentioned it, 'cause she's running, in her
Right.
weird running way.
Yeah.
And then she sees us on the ground somehow. And she, her eyes get huge and she stops,
Yeah.
she thrusts her arms out like the air resistance will keep her from going forward. And she just goes, ah.
Maybe she hates, maybe she just doesn't like littering? Littering.
She's scared of dolls.
Who's not scared of dolls?
Yeah. She was like, oh, a toy.
Wasn't sure if this was a key detail to the movie
It was
or...
No.
Yeah.
But that is
Okay.
why she just randomly started, freezing in the middle of the street.
It's as much
Yeah.
sense as we can make.
That's true.
Yeah.
But she cries over her friend, and then a hymn breaks out, so we have to listen to that for a second. And then she has memories, so this is a flashback within a flashback, of Ginny warning her about the impending rapture, and Patty pointing out that God is in control of everything, and he seems like a real dick if this is his big bad plan. Because she's literally told, the world's gonna go to hell, and everything's gonna die, and it's gonna be pretty terrible. And Patty's like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a good guy.
I don't remember if she says it in this scene or another one, but she's like, what about that whole God is love thing?
Yeah.
That's
I don't
some
remember if it
point.
was this scene,
She does
but
bring it up. Yeah,
She
yeah.
says, you know,
Oh, to her
something
mom.
that
She's talking to her
effect.
mom. The flashback.
Oh, that's her granny.
Her grandma,
yeah.
that's right.
Granny.
I know this because she only
Granny
calls-
has all the answers and doesn't have to think about it. Just churns it out.
But yeah, Ginny gives her a tribulation map to warn her about what might happen after the rapture, and Patty keeps it, so I assume it's going to come up. Spoilers, now that I've seen the whole movie, it really doesn't. Because
Awesome.
you'd think, like, you'd have it in the movie and, like, read it and be like, now I know what's going to happen. No.
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 Doesn't she go through the map?
She does.
She finds it later.
Yeah, she finds it.
Oh,
She
right.
doesn't use it. She just
Yeah.
like, oh, that thing I had.
Oh.
So there are just a lot of scenes in this movie that are really just people reading books to other people, including narrators to us, people in the movie reading to people in the movie. I don't know. But because Ginny does just that, she's reading to Patty as we transition back to the first flashback. So we're in just layer 1 of flashbacks.
I am so glad I got sleep last night.
Right? It was worth it.
And well, yeah, that and also I'm like, I am lost. I would be way more lost if I wasn't. Yeah, thanks, coffee.
Patty now heads to her grandma's house, and she finds out that Granny's gone. And I say Granny because she only calls this woman Granny.
Yeah.
Seems like you'd, like, mix it up some, and she's like, Granny!
Well, you know, it's like everybody has like the grandparent name. You call that grandparent that name. But I don't feel like anybody would willingly want to be called Granny. You know? You like,
Maybe it's
call me
a 70s
Graham.
thing.
Call me, I had a mama because it was
Yeah,
the South.
Mama,
The mama's
Mima.
from Kentucky. And then a Graham was the New England grandma.
I do have a granny, actually.
I'm
Maybe it's a
grandma.
southern thing.
I mean, I don't have anybody alive.
Yeah, mine died, so.
Both of them?
Yeah, I don't know. I never met my mom's parents. So
Oh, gotcha. Right on.
I think they're dead.
Man, they died so long ago.
I still have people alive.
Yeah, I had
Lucky.
I had one grandparent, and she died, so it's over now. In
It's over
February.
now.
R.I.P.
No more
Granny.
birthday checks. I know.
But she visits Granny, and for a second I was just like, are we just going to watch Patty visit everyone she knew in this?
Right.
That would be this. Yeah, that would be this movie.
But this last one at least causes Patty to scream and gnash her teeth at God when she's on her grandma's bed. She says, I hate you!
Yeah.
Like, what is that?
The Exorcist.
Mm-mm.
Oh.
Star Wars, Episode 3.
Oh, which?
At the end, when Anakin is stuck in the lava,
Oh, episode. Okay, yeah.
and Obi-Wan's walking away, and he's like, I hate you!
Shouldn't have let him got the higher ground.
Yeah.
I was waiting for that blood-curdling scream, and here it was. It's pretty great.
Every movie, they have to have at least one. There's going to be another. There's 2 in this one.
Yeah.
But now we get a flashback again within this flashback, and that's just Patty going to church with her grandma, not really listening or caring because it's just a preacher who's all doom and gloom. And it's funny because we're supposed to think like Patty's the weird one,
Yeah.
but they show the audience that no one else looks interested either.
Yeah, that's a good
Like
point.
there's a woman who I'm pretty sure has one eye closed. She's just like, she's like, I'm trying. I've been filming this stupid scene for hours.
Well, he's like the least dynamic doom and gloom pastor I've ever listened to.
That's true.
You know, the fire and brimstone types are usually the most entertaining.
But we do get a whole presentation on a poster about how 4 horsey boys are going to show up riding different colored horses.
I
We're gonna,
love this poster. I want it on my wall.
we should get one.
I genuinely do.
And they're going to bring different horrible things to Earth with them. You know, war and famine and death, etc.
Yeah, horses of a different color.
And hilariously, for me at least, counter to most of the presentations that we've seen, because we've seen a couple. I went to Tribulation Trail. We've seen it in other movies.
I went to Bible camp.
The first horse is labeled Peace. And that's the bad horse. Because
Yeah.
he's the Antichrist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the first thing he's going to do is bring peace on Earth.
Yes.
like,
or
watch out.
seemingly peace.
Right.
Yeah.
It's rare that they actually just label it peace. They usually label it, you know,
Satan.
because the 4 are, let's see, war, death, famine, pestilence.
Yeah.
So typically he's labeled war. And the others, you know, pestilence, famine, and death follow.
Right.
But this one's like peace, war, famine, death.
Right.
There's no
Right.
pestilence.
You get a calm before the storm
Right.
in this rendition.
But it's just, if there's one thing we've learned from these movies that we've seen so far, It's that be careful of people who are peacemakers. Never ever trust anyone who's like, let's just be cool, bud.
Don't trust anyone with a mustache.
Or with a mustache.
Also that, but we've learned that from history as well.
It's just such a weird religion where it's like, oh, he's like bringing peace to the Middle East. Terrible guy.
Yeah.
Must be the Antichrist. All right, so after a quick transition back to our flashback timeline, Patty is having one of those hanging out with Granny moments, and she's reading about more warnings in the Bible about the horrible fate that's about to befall her. And of course, this is where Hannah was talking about, where Patty's like, what about this whole...
Yeah. I thought he said God was love. God is love.
Yeah, he loves you so much that he's gonna blow up the world.
Yeah. For you.
For you. If you just love him back, he'll spare you.
Right.
Your family, if they didn't get on track, is dead.
Yeah.
Your friends will all die.
Yeah. Yes.
Most of the people you've ever
Out
met.
of love.
Out of love will be murdered.
So Granny's response, I thought was interesting when she said, well, what about God is love? And Granny goes, well, God is holy. And it's funny how, like, it's like, oh, well, he can't be both. Like, it's either he's loving or he's holy. And
It's okay that he's not love. He's holy.
Yeah.
You're right. That's a very good
I'm glad
point.
you took that note, because I wasn't listening to Granny at all.
no, I definitely zoned off a lot in that montage, but I caught that. I'm
Also,
like,
her voice, like a lot of other voices, is just so bizarro that it was distracting. I wasn't listening to what she was saying. I was just more, like, fascinated by the cadence.
yeah.
Yeah, anyway.
Seriously. That 70s. That 70s cadence.
70s voices.
Yeah, so, 70s voices.
But after the rapture is hit and after all these events, we're back in the prime flashback timeline. And Patty is joined by Winda and some other woman. And that's like their trio now.
Yeah.
Winda was her
The
neighbor.
small one that looks probably younger than she is.
Yeah.
Sandy.
Yeah, Sandy.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we get a scene where she's hanging out with her friends, Sandy and Winda, and her friend Diane and her monster of a husband are trying to catch up with her because they see Patty and they wave. And these are the people who, in the previous movie, she called for help, but then betrayed her and threw her off of a dam.
Yes, and he looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
I feel like his mustache is bigger.
Did you think so?
I thought so.
I don't know, maybe it was, but in my head I'm just like, yeah, I remember that mug. I'm so uncomfortable.
But so Patty has been distancing herself from them because of her dream where they betray her and murder her. Mm-hmm. But now they catch up and they're just like, what's going on? We haven't heard from you. Like, are you okay? And Patty explains her dream to them. So she's like, you two killed me in a dream I had and it just freaked me out. So I haven't been comfortable, talking to you because I think you're going to join up with the Unite guys and you're going to murder me.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the mailman comes because they leave. They're like, that's ridiculous.
They're like, you are mad at us for something that happened in a dream, which is normally a good response. You're just like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is the guy.
I've been mad at people because of things that happened in my dream and like known that it was not logical, but at the same time, like, I gotta take a minute because you are a dick in my brain. Yeah.
But so they leave and they're just like, you're ridiculous. We'll see you later. And then the mailman comes and I noticed that he has a fucking sports car. Is this a thing male people did? Or do?
I saw that. I'm like
Like he was driving like a Camaro.
Well, in the first movie, they had a helicopter budget. Maybe they had a sports car budget in this one.
They gave it to the mailman?
They gave it to everyone, man. Everyone had a helicopter.
That's true.
Everyone has a sports car.
But I thought mail carriers carried or drove mail trucks.
Maybe Unite took all the mail trucks.
We need a really slow-moving vehicle.
Converted them to Unite vans.
Considering how well they chase people, I wouldn't be surprised if they're like, we just need mail trucks. They max at like 35 miles an hour. And that's about the speed of a human. So like, we need to make sure we chase them slightly faster than they can run. Alright, so Patty now takes her newfound friends to the dam. Because she just wants to relive her trauma for some reason.
Yeah.
Dream trauma, that's what I was doing, obviously.
Obviously.
It wasn't an accident.
No, I like it.
And Winda had received a letter from her husband, who was overseas with the Air Force, and she'd been waiting to hear from him. That's why they were waiting for the mail. And she looked forward to seeing him again when he finally returned to the U.S. But in the letter, he mentions how he had just accepted Jesus Christ as his personal savior. So now Winda's reading this letter, and she's like, "Oh, God damn it!
Son of a bitch!"
And so she also screams and cries.
Yeah.
Because
It reminds me of it's like when that girl gets the letter in A League of Their Own, finding out that her husband died. Except in that, she was really sad about it. And in this, she's like, fuck you!
Yeah, she's really mad at her husband. She's like, you're fine, you fucker!
Oh my gosh.
And the flashback series finally ends, for just a second. And Patty and her Christian pals from the beginning end up in a center, where they're offered one last opportunity to take the mark of the beast, and they can return to society, no harm, no foul. Otherwise, they're going to be blindfolded, and led to the back of the building, where they'll be unblindfolded, and then given one final chance.
Yeah.
And even Patty in the movie is like, why would they blindfold you and then unblindfold?
I love that she said that. I love it.
They're gonna walk us 25 feet and unblindfold us? And you're like, I don't know, something's going on.
You can't see this hallway. We don't want you to see this hallway.
Yeah. And the guy who was speaking, like, clowny
Oh my
looking
God.
dude.
Yeah.
He had the mark right on his forehead. So this is when I remembered, oh my gosh. So I don't remember which of the 4 movies I've seen, but when I saw him, I was like, oh, I think I've seen this one or the next one. But his face is very distinct.
Oh my God, burned
Is
into
he
your
one of the
brain.
guys that scared you as a child?
Probably.
Yeah.
I
Was he
think
the one
so.
with the really, really, like, monotone voice?
Yes.
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 And the goofy hair.
Yes. The goofy hair. Like, that narrows it down.
That's true. You remember the
Yeah.
clown kid from last one?
Yes.
Yeah.
He had hair like the clown
Yeah,
kid.
I
absolutely
literally
right.
wrote there
Like
was a
Bozo.
clowny looking guy with a mark on his forehead.
He's even like somewhat paunchy. He's kind of round as a person. He looks
Yeah.
like a cartoon clown.
Right, like, just like Sans makeup.
Yeah.
Like, this is what the clown would look like. IRL.
And he maybe has to like put on a wig to make it red rather than brown.
He
But,
just
like,
spray paints it, probably. Ugh.
now we know what he did before the rapture.
And after.
And Patty's blonde Christian friend asks her about Diane and that beast that she calls a husband. So we get another flashback of Patty and some of the others hanging out with Diane and Jerry. His name is Jerry. Talking about how new people are prophesying about what's going to happen, and they're arguing about how are religious people still around, considering that they were all supposed to have disappeared. Because he is a monster and not a man, so he's not very bright and doesn't realize that you can become religious. He's very stupid. So these people disappeared like last year, and Patty, no one even answers the obvious. Like, yeah, they became religious, you fucking morons.
Stupid dumbass. Shave your face.
Right. Like, they think the answers to what happened are in the Bible, so they believed it, and then they became Christians.
This is why he'll never
And
get
you're
saved.
incredibly stupid.
Yeah.
Like, even if you don't believe, I'm saying you have to believe it, I'm just saying it's a very obvious explanation.
When you're that hunky, you don't have to be smart.
That's true. So they come around to the conclusion that the 7-year tribulation is now really beginning. And Patty expresses concern that even if the end of the world doesn't come, they may wish that it does. Because it's going to be real bad.
They'll pray for death.
So Patty is now back in church with the preacher from the first movie, who wound up being the bad guy because, remember, he was somewhat reasonable in that he mostly said that the rapture and brimstone and Jesus was kind of a metaphor and just be a good person. But now he's come around to realize that the rapture actually happened, and he feels terrible about leading so many people the wrong way.
Yeah.
He regrets it forever.
Yeah. They're the next part where they sit down and talk. One of my favorite scenes in the movie because she goes off on him.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Why didn't you tell us beforehand? He's like, well, I didn't know.
So was it, he's already been pretty mournful about it. Like,
Yeah.
he's, like, kicking when he's down.
Right,
Like, he
yeah.
agrees with you. Stop yelling.
It's true.
Yeah.
This is the first time I checked the clock. We had 40 minutes to go. And
But this
I was
also
just
feels like it's like watching Mr. Rogers get left behind. Like, or just like he was so sincerely kind person who was trying to really help people, and like just because he didn't believe in the like nonsense crazy part.
Yeah.
But here's the funny part, because you're right that she goes at this man, but he also doesn't really apologize in this one. In the first movie we saw him, he's very mournful, and
Yeah.
he still is.
Right.
Yeah.
But she says
Oh,
to
right.
him,
The first movie is a dream, so he actually is not as mournful as I remember.
so she says to him, you know, why couldn't you talk about any of this stuff before? Now you're just scaring us out of our wits now. And you never talked about prophecy or the rapture, and you even criticized evangelists for their scare tactics.
Right.
And he's sort of, you can see him sort of deflect
Right.
with his hands. He just waves. And he says, he points out that you've heard all of this stuff before, and you never accepted Jesus. So, maybe you could have just decided that it was true.
Right. Maybe not put it all on me.
But then he also says, he was very comfortable in his role, and he was also just expressing his own philosophy. He was secure, and he was fine with that. And so he was maybe, having an ego.
Right.
But wait, there's more. Because she owned a Bible, and he was a bad preacher. It was her responsibility to challenge him for being unbiblical. So it's her duty. And
so now it's all her fault.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, well, hold on a second.
So he's like, I'm a little bit responsible, but let's be clear. You heard this stuff, and this is your fault.
Not all my fault.
Why didn't you tell me about all this?
But basically, this movie is trying to tell you, like, small children were trying to frighten Hannah as a 10-year-old. You gotta believe what we believe, and if your preacher isn't talking about it, you gotta punch him in the head with Jesus. Otherwise, he's gonna condemn you and everyone you know to hell.
Right.
Or the tribulation, which is bad. But Patty and her pals are hanging out with some horses, and they eat in a nice little prairie. And while they're doing this, a random man tracks them down to preach the word of God to them in a scene that is presented triumphantly, but should be horrifying.
Yeah.
Because they're out away from most of society, and this random guy just follows them out into a field.
Yeah, like a zombie, too. The least charismatic representation of Jesus I have ever witnessed.
Yeah, and he's supposed to be like, okay, but I'm just like, no, kill him!
He's like, hey, just believe in the Bible and follow me.
They paired it with this, like, choir music right as he pops up out into the field.
Yeah.
I burst out laughing. That was, I think, the one time I laughed in this movie.
Oh, I'm glad you found some joy.
I know.
Yeah, no, it's
just, like, so ridiculous.
It's a ridiculous thing. But Wenda converts at this point, because she had previously not converted.
And she's the only one he talks to.
Which they mention again in the movie.
Right. I love that this movie is full of them pointing out the things that I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of self-awareness.
He singled her out.
Right.
Yeah,
and they're like, why didn't he talk to me about this?
Yeah.
She literally, in the next scene, it's them driving back home or whatever, and he's like, he only talked to Wenda. I have no idea why he skipped me.
I don't even know what he said.
It's religious stuff, but, like, I wasn't privy to it. So now Wenda is out about town. She's doing something. She's in a park, basically. And she meets an old, hungry man. And Wenda's a believer now, so she has to pull the classic church move, the switcheroo, with the homeless. She gives him some food, but he has to sit through a sermon.
Yes, basically a timeshare opportunity.
Right. He's like, hey, I'll show you some food, and then while you're eating, I'm just going to talk to you about a bunch of bullshit you don't care about. Mm-hmm. She's like, I want him to, like, come live with us. So she's going to try to bring that up. Because he's homeless, he needs somewhere to go.
This is how you get murdered.
Very creepy.
And while Wenda and her friends are doing a puzzle, Patty and Sandy, Patty brings up reasonable points about how God just lets terrible things happen, even to people who are believers, despite being, omnipotent and could prevent it.
Right.
And Wenda says, that's not accurate because you see this puzzle we're doing? It's a metaphor, right? And you could never solve the puzzle if you didn't know what it was supposed to look like.
Yeah, she holds up one piece. She's like, if you were to look at this little piece of the puzzle, you can't imagine what the entire thing is going to look like at the end.
And that's what God's plan is.
Mm-hmm.
Killing a baby is part of some grand scheme. You just don't see it because you don't have that cool God
That
perspective.
dead baby will eventually look like a Thomas Kincaid painting.
And so, and lowly humans don't have the means to see what that thing is. And the dead baby is not just me. That's Patty's example.
Yeah.
Killing babies.
I forgot about that part.
Yeah.
Maybe I was zoning out.
Probably.
Patty goes in this movie.
Yeah.
And it's
I'm
funny
behind
because
her.
we're supposed to think, like, she's the unreasonable one, but no one ever actually answers her questions sufficiently.
Yeah.
It's a trope we've seen
Over and over again.
dozens of times now. But
Like, I just appreciate when good questions get brought up. Yeah.
because we don't expect answers at this point, because there aren't any good ones.
And there's also no reason for answers, really. Like, belief is belief.
Yeah.
Belief.
But
Yeah.
it's just always amusing when we see someone give a really good question and just never getting a real answer.
Yeah. Well, that happens in this scene. After Wenda has this whole spiel with, what's her name? Patty.
Yeah.
And then Patty asks Sandy, the little kid-looking one, she's like, well, do you believe all this or something? And Sandy, super sus, and she was like, well, what do you mean? And she never answers the question. I'm like, oh, Sandy's one of them.
Babyface Girl also has what I think might be my favorite voice in the whole thing.
Yeah.
Very Minnie Mouse, like. Unnatural.
Yeah, you're right. I hadn't noticed that, but she is super sus.
Yeah.
Which is a term I learned last week, because I'm an old man.
Super sussed?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Sus.
Sus. Like,
Super sussed.
Yeah. No, sus like suspect.
Super sussed.
Not ED, just sus.
Suspect.
Oh, are you being a hip?
I learned it last week. I didn't know it before.
Oh, is this like shipping?
I guess so. It's like a word that means things that you... It's a short way to say suspect.
Okay, I think I've heard that before.
Yeah.
I'm an old lady.
You see, I had to correct it more multiple times.
I
Sus.
thought you were learning an
Something.
actual new word.
No.
Well, he's not like nonplussed. Super sus.
I needed to get that out. I had a froggy. Yeah, Sandy is, in retrospect, very suspicious, and we'll get there.
Yeah.
But lightning strikes because it's been storming outside, and lightning strikes the barn where they keep their horses. So the barn is set ablaze, and the horses die except for one. One of the horses gets out. The Palomino. I know that because they say that. I don't know what Palominos are.
Horses.
Yeah. I
You're a
thought
horse person?
I
Palominos.
hate horses.
I thought those were the spotted ones.
I have no idea.
This
I
one
have
is not
literally
spotted.
no idea.
Yeah.
I don't know much about horses. But
Maybe
that's
your
what I
name
thought.
was Palomino.
Yeah, I probably know the least about horses in this room. She knows more because she hates them.
I do, and I also tried really hard to be a horse girl because everybody I hung out with as a kid was a
Yeah.
horse girl, and I had like one of my best friends was homeschooled, and she was a horse girl, and one of my
Those
girls went to high
homeschoolers.
school, right, man? That just like she was a trope, but no, I tried real hard. I even had a birthday where like we went horseback riding and stuff. I went to horse camp.
Whoa.
Yeah, and then I accepted them. Like, I just don't like these creatures. Like, if this was dog camp, why can't I go to dog camp? I don't. Yeah, so I also realized that my least favorite movie genre is horse movie.
It's true.
Oh,
Hate them
absolutely.
and will never ever see another one.
My hobby, or my interest that no one suspects, because I'm not a horse girl, I'm a plane guy.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I found that out
Recently.
recently.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
last time we...
I'm just into
were you here too? There was. I thought it was one of the ones that you were here for.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That might have been it then.
Yeah, you don't need to talk to me about that stuff.
I'm not gonna.
I don't care.
It's fine. I'm not a big deal.
I'm really into bears.
I just thought you were friends, but it's fine.
Like, not the sexy kind, like the real ones that live in the forest.
I get it. Everyone wants to be a bear. I want to shit in the woods.
I just want... You can shit in the woods right now.
I want to be a
There's
bear!
literally nothing stopping you from shitting in the
It's a
woods.
song.
Oh.
It's 47 seconds. It's about being a bear.
You've played me that song before.
It's great.
I have the memory of a goldfish. Let's move on.
Let's move on to this show we're doing. So things get even worse from here because the barn is burned down and the horses are dead.
Mm-hmm.
As death is clearly getting released into the world and people start dropping like flies. Wenda loses like a uncle or something. Who cares? Patty has been using Diane, her friend from the previous
Airplane.
movie. Yeah.
What's that one called, Josh?
Oh, that's what happened.
That's what it was.
Yes.
That was your fault. That's funny. So Patty has been using Diane as a source of food and supplies. You know, Diane, the one who she thinks is going to throw her off her bridge.
Right. The cool one who always wears sunglasses.
Right. But Patty's been mostly kicked out of society now because she doesn't have the mark and it stands out, so she doesn't hang out around there. But she, talks to Diane. Diane. Yeah. I'm forgetting their names now. And they're going to meet them halfway. Mm-hmm. But where that happens to be is the bridge/dam where she has her worst memories
Dun, dun, dun.
from her dream.
It's all happening.
Yeah, so she gets over there to the Red Hook Dam or something. Red
Red
brick? Red rock.
Red Rock.
Red Rock
That
Dam.
makes more sense.
And she drives over there, and when she sees Diane and her husband on the other side, she just has a trigger moment where she's like, oh shit!
That's happening!
It's happening right now!
My nightmares.
Yeah, so she literally turns her car around really harsh and just drives away. So now we get a little car chase.
Car budget.
Yeah, they got a car budget. And when that's over, Patty just straight up jumps out of her car and books it. The bad news for her, though, is that Frankenstein's monster used to be a track star. So he catches her.
Oh my god.
Did you
Easily.
see his form?
Yeah. No, that dude ran.
Oh my god. Yeah, he was booking it.
And he catches her easily.
It was hilarious also.
Yeah. You can't have an end times movie without a car chase
Right.
or a foot chase.
And yeah, especially with her. She has to be running most of the time. And she lost a lot of weight from the last time she was running, I guess.
She was running better.
Yeah, so she's clearly
Little
getting
bit
more
faster.
athletic.
Like,
yeah.
had he not been the track star that he clearly was in college.
Maybe I start treating exercise like it's my way to escape the apocalypse.
It's true.
I'll take it more seriously.
Useful in the apocalypse.
Yeah.
So you should think about it.
I'm gonna die so fast.
Yeah, it's fine.
Just take me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Honestly, I get it.
yeah.
Somebody asked me the other
I
day.
would kill myself.
Yeah, somebody asked me the other day, like, do you want to live? Like, just like,
Right.
long? I was like, yeah, I want to
I want to live out of curiosity.
That was my literal answer. I was like, yeah, I want to hold on.
Yeah. Curiosity is my motivation.
Right. Because, I had cancer and I went through it so I didn't die. So obviously I have some basic drive.
Right.
But I don't know if I could, say, I want to live.
Right. I can't come up with a reason right now, but that doesn't mean it won't want to appear.
Yeah.
And maybe something great will happen. Who knows?
Yeah, I was saying I was young. I was 25. I was
Yeah.
going to be okay. So I was like, sure, let's go through it. There's no reason to die now.
Right.
But, 20 years from now? Ugh, I don't know.
I do look forward to being, I don't believe I'll ever be retired again because of the money
Yeah.
and the society and the economy,
Yeah.
but being in a retirement community,
Yeah.
Oh.
You can just move in now.
I actually am looking into it. There is an age limit or age max. What,
Minimum?
Minimum?
Minimum.
That's the word. But I think I could talk my way in. Older people love me.
Yeah.
Aw.
And if I help them with their yard work and shit,
Yeah.
That's true.
make myself
Like,
useful.
I'll just be your live-in maintenance person.
Right, and I will drink wine with you on your front porch and bitch about the neighbors.
That sounds great, actually.
So Patty gets caught by Diane's husband. He's like, what is going on? What are you doing? You almost killed us because we had to chase you to give
Yeah.
you supplies that you wanted.
Yeah.
And Patty's like, you have to show me your hands. Show me your hands.
I wish he'd held up power bars.
And so basically she's checking to see if he's gotten the mark yet, and he has not. So he's like, you're insane. So Patty reminds him about the bad dream she told him about. And Diane and her horrible, creepy, scary husband are flabbergasted that she still believes this is a real thing.
Laugh in her face.
Yeah, they're like, what? Are you insane?
Yeah.
But they're literally just trying to help you, in their words. They're like, I'm just trying to help you because
Yeah.
you wanted the help. I'm not going to hurt you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, isn't it kind of surprising that they haven't taken the mark? Like, they don't care, right?
It's a little
Yeah.
surprising.
yeah, they should have the mark.
Especially
They could still not want to kill her and have the mark.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think Diane works for, the food ration place.
Right,
So
yeah.
how does she not have the mark?
Great question.
No.
It's a good question. But Patty,
She got hers on her boob.
back in the present,
Yeah.
the real present, not the flashback present, Patty is asked if she thinks that it was Diane and her husband that turned them into their current captors. But no, she doesn't really think that was what it was.
No way.
And this question's not going to make any sense in about 10 minutes when we get there.
Uh-huh.
But I just want you to remember that someone asked, do you think it was Diane and Jerry?
Yes.
Yeah.
Great
And
point.
she's like, no.
No, absolutely not.
Despite the prophecy.
Despite the yeah, whatever. But someone is now taken back to the mysterious back room where their blindfold has been taken off after 25 feet. And we hear a blood-curdling scream, and she runs back in, and she finally decides to take the mark of the beast, condemning herself to hell for all eternity. Mm-hmm. And Patty thinks that, maybe... they're like, how could anyone do that? She knows what's going to happen. And Patty's like, I think I'm going to be okay after all. Maybe I'll convert. She's feeling the Holy Spirit, I guess. Mm-hmm. And so everyone's like, oh my god, that's so good!
Yay! One of us. One of us.
One of us. A little jig.
Yeah.
Well, the girl who comes back and gets the mark, she's wearing this weird white, sheet dress. It reminded me of, Holocaust or something.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Totally.
Oh my god, which we'll see.
Which we
more
will
of
see
later.
again.
Super.
So now we get another
Super
flashback about the Reverend who used to, preach his philosophy and was comfortable in his position, but now he preaches the truth of Jesus and such. But it turns out he's just preaching to an empty room because he's literally insane now.
Yep.
He's so distraught with grief that he just preaches all
He didn't
day.
even turn the lights on.
Yeah,
He's just standing in the pulpit, just talking, being
Yeah.
sad.
I was so confused by that scene. I'm like, what's happening to him?
Because her blonde Christian friend asked her, what happened to the preacher? And she's like, oh,
Right.
here's a thing I witnessed.
yeah.
I yelled at him and he went insane.
Yes. And there's still 20 minutes of the movie to watch, or the flashbacks for me to watch, so I'm watching them. But Patty heads off to meet her friends again. But now it's the middle of the afternoon and the sun begins to go down, which is pretty weird, pretty spooky. So she runs to a random person's house and she cracks a chair through the window and she jumps inside just as an earthquake begins. And because she broke and entered, she managed to survive, even though the house literally falls apart around her.
Yeah.
Like the roof caves in, one of the walls falls down.
I really wonder how they shot this. So I thought about being a movie director back in the day, so I always look at how they shoot things.
Right.
And it looked like it was literally like a cardboard box house because the walls were like wobbly.
I was boggled by that too.
Don't think they even used a real house. Which is,
But now theoretically, you know, that's fine because if it's an earthquake that God did, it's gotta be pretty strong.
Yeah, it was very clearly just like a set that they had moving pieces on. Yeah.
Let's knock this whole shit down.
Right. It's just like a
dollhouse.
so
like
realistic.
or like in a play where they just have like somebody they have people holding the back and like wobbling it.
Probably what it was.
Yeah, something like that.
So now we're back with Winda, and she meets her old friend, the homeless guy again, and asks what he's been up to. And it's a bunch of, I'm just hanging out. Turns out he's a bad guy. And so he turns him in to unite Winda and Sandy.
He's a bad guy that turns him into the bad guys hiding in the bushes pretending to be a cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They planted a cat back there to catch them.
In my head, they were just about going, meow.
I think that's what it
and then a girl
was.
goes, I think that's a cat.
No, like, that's the crazy part. I am so used to these fucking movies that I didn't even acknowledge that. But you're right. I'm pretty sure it's a grown-ass man hiding
Meowing in the bushes.
Who goes,
Meow.
And then the girl's reaction is not, there's a cat over there. It's,
I should go
I think
find
that
it.
might be a cat.
I should go find it.
Like, well, it's meowing. Yeah, I mean, it's a great guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But when she goes to find the cat, a man grabs her.
Springs from the bushes.
I gotcha.
These two women try to run away, but they don't get away. They hurt themselves a little bit trying to get away. It doesn't work. And so, they're captured now because they seem like they're dirty Christians.
Yeah.
And now we go to the Unite Center or whatever, where we see a woman who doesn't have the mark, but she just wants food for her baby. But she needs the mark if she's going to get the care that she and her baby need. And the bitter old broad behind the desk says to her, I've seen this trick 50 times a day, and if you don't have the mark, you don't get anything.
That's not the curmudgeon I'm going to be. She's a different kind of curmudgeon.
Right. And then the woman's like, you're just going to let a baby die? She's like, I don't make the rules, I just obey them. And this harkened me back to a month ago. Obey really should just be a 4-letter word.
Yeah.
The majority of people are implied to just not know any better. So they should still be
Helping people.
not pieces of shit the whole time.
Right. There's no real motivation for them.
Yeah. But apparently you get that mark and Satan just gets in you and you're just terrible now.
Yeah. It does seem like the mark makes them like hypnotized almost.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something in one of the movies later that has that in there.
Yeah, maybe the tattoo has like the ink is a little bit poison.
That's why the Bible says don't get tattoos.
That's the real answer. It's not about your devotion to the bad guys. It's about the poison.
That explains it.
Yep.
Okay, but Winda witnesses this, but they're of course being treated by Unite, and so she's asking like, "Why are you treating me? But you're just letting that baby starve." And the guy who's taking care of her like arm that she tore up is, "Well, you're under arrest, so technically you're our property right now,
Right.
or whatever your ward."
Yeah.
And also, we're interested in talking to you because you found the missionary, just the missionary, I think.
Yeah.
Capital T, capital M.
Yeah.
This is that creepy guy who followed just Winda into the woods.
Yeah, the creepy monotone. Yeah.
Is this the,
I don't know.
I assume that's who you're talking about.
All I know is I know it's not the boyfriend because I knew that guy.
Yeah.
And he doesn't look anything like Jason Mantzoukas.
Yeah.
But it was somebody he had to have been bearded and he had to have had a lot of hair.
It's probably this guy, because he was a little browner than most of the characters in this movie.
No, this was a very white person, which is why I put white Jason Mantzoukas.
Well, he was white, but he was just like, he was a little darker.
Oh, okay. Probably because you've been walking in the sun for a while.
Sorry, what were you saying?
Oh, no, I just put 2 and 2 together. Because this whole time I was like, well, who is the missionary that they're talking about?
That's the missionary.
The guy in the blue jumpsuit who popped into the field.
He wasn't in jumpsuit.
That's a real sentence.
Blue jumpsuit Jesus.
Yeah.
So they want to talk about where to find the missionary, I guess.
Yeah.
And Winda has an opportunity where she's left alone. So she makes a call to Patty where they live. Because now Unite knows where they live, and they're going to come for her, obviously. And Patty answers the phone just in time, and she runs away into a field. and she outsmarts the guy who's chasing her by pretending that she jumped into a pond. But she didn't. So he's looking around, and she throws him into the pond and steals his gun.
Which she doesn't know how to use.
No, my favorite part of her not knowing how to use it is because this guy is swimming away.
Yeah.
And she's like pointing the gun at him and trying to fire it.
Right.
And she just sort of shouts out loud,
Yeah.
"How do you work this stupid thing anyway?" As though she expects him to turn around and be like, "You have to turn the safety off."
How does this work?
So shoot me in the back. You have to turn the safety off.
He swims back to shore to help her.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me show you. Okay, I'll jump in the water when I'm done.
Right, then they have a romantic teaching her how to do something scene.
Oh, yeah, that'd be fun. But she's confronted by this guy's partner, who they had outran, because this guy's a little portlier, so he took longer. And he doesn't know that she can't operate the gun. So she just points it at him, and he's like, "Put the gun down." She's like, "I've got nothing to lose." She's channeling her inner Rambo.
Yes.
She's like, "I've got nothing to lose. I'll kill us both." So he puts his gun down, and she takes both, because she doesn't know how to use it either.
Yeah, but she can now look like she's doing something.
She at least was smart enough
It was
to
a bluff.
pretend she knew how to use it.
It was
I'm just like, "Don't shoot me, I don't know how to use this thing."
That's how Hillary dies.
That's how I do it, yeah. Panic in the moment.
Gosh.
I would actually just probably try to hit him with it.
Okay, but Diane steals these guns, and then she steals their van, just like the first movie.
Yeah.
But before, she can really take off, she gets stuck in the mud because they wanted to create some tension. Where it's like, is she going to get away?
The one puddle of mud in the whole farm.
Yeah, everything is dry except this one little patch. But they almost catch up to her, and then she gets away because they always have to, almost get caught. It's
Well, that's just movies in general.
I know, but they don't even do it in an efficient or good way where they're actually efficiently chasing her.
Right.
She's in a van and she gets stuck in a fucking mud puddle. She could just as easily just jump out and run away because they were clearly 90,000 feet away.
True,
It
but
takes them.
she is exhausted, Josh. She has been running for hours.
It takes them a few minutes to catch up to them. Okay, but Patty calls Diane once again, just like in the first movie. And this is very much a parallel, because in the first movie, she had also stolen the Unite van and then called Diane for help. The good news is, Diane wants her to meet her at a church and not the dam. And Patty still doesn't really want to. She's like, "I have to go over there."
Yeah.
But she's got no real choice in the matter. So they meet Patty and tell her that they can't help her anymore, and that for her own physical and spiritual welfare, they think that she should take the mark, just like they did. Bum, bum, bum. They're bad guys after all.
You're gonna get thrown off a bridge.
So when Patty tries to run away, she is grabbed by a Unite boy, and she just feels so betrayed by her friends. And this is what I was talking about when I was saying, when blonde Christian guy is like, "Do you think it was Patty that turned you in?" She's like, "I don't think so." It's like, bitch, you know who turned you in.
Were you not there?
Are you also in the same part of the story that he is?
Like,
Does your brain not remember until you get there?
yeah, it seems like, and we'll get here, it seems like they were betrayed by someone else.
Right.
But, she knows that Diane and her husband were at least a part of it.
She's the one telling the story.
Yeah, she was literally like, "You don't have to be like, I don't think so. We're gonna see it too. What are you doing?"
What do you mean?
Alright. But now we're back in the present for the mostly final time. There's a very brief flashback from here. Very, very quick. Patty remembers about the evangelist who was trying to tell her about the fire and brimstone. She has that memory while she's talking. But this is otherwise.
Oh,
We're staying in this prime timeline.
Yeah.
And Patty's friends and herself are called into that mysterious back room as Patty talks to Wenda about the great irony of being offered the chance to convert before, but now she's being saved, but now she has to go through this sort of horrible reject Christ or be killed sort of situation that she's in. But now her time is up. So Patty's, called back and blindfolded and changed into that weird sheet outfit that Hannah was talking about.
I think that's what I remember too from growing up. Like, oh my God, they're gonna put us in these
Very unflattering sheets.
Yeah.
Very unflattering hospital gowns.
Yeah.
And so once they get to that very back, they are unblindfolded, like they were promised.
Right.
And they see a big-ass guillotine waiting for them.
Yeah.
Is it guillotine or guillotine?
Guillotine.
Yeah, guillotine. It sounds so douchey to say it properly.
Guillotine.
Guillotine!
That sounds like a powder you add to milk.
Yeah, we're calling them guillotines from now on. Alright, but not only that, but Diane and the rest of their friends come along to convince them to go ahead and take the mark, because this is their last chance. Included in this group, Sandy.
Dun,
But also,
dun,
for the record, they knew that wherever they were being led, it was going to be basically their death, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The guillotine's the best option. In my head, I'm like, oh, they're going to fucking crucify him.
Right.
Yeah, I'm like, it's going to be some sort of torture, some like crazy thing, you know? I'm like, oh, guillotine, fuck yeah. Like, if I got to choose the way I died, that would be one of the top
Instant.
picks. It's
Now-
instant, it's supposedly, believably painless.
So that is...
I would like to know if your brain stays alive. The only way to find out if
Is
your
to get
brain
your
is
head
still
off.
firing when your head gets chopped off for a little
Is
bit.
to cut your head off.
Right.
You'll find the answer
solved
in
that
those last-
curiosity.
So, I don't disagree typically, except if you use a guillotine for... if you use a guillotine for mass execution, which they are, they get dull very quickly. So you
True.
have to clean them a lot, and you have to sharpen them a lot.
Oh man, can you imagine that's
So-
like, it's like when your blinds get a little bit caught and you have to keep going up and down and up and down.
That's
Just
actually
hacking at people's-
That's how guillotines work.
You're right, I know.
Or guillotines
No,
work.
but it's supposed to be like one clean shot through.
Right.
But you're right, when it gets dull, you're just like, oh, well, let's try this again.
You kill like 3 people with one of those things, and
Right.
you have to do it at least twice for everybody. And it's that horrible moment where you get someone halfway through the neck and they're screaming now.
Yeah.
And you gotta be like, alright, let me get this. Alright, are we ready? And you drop it again.
The French Revolution was a nightmare.
It's a very major pain. But for one person at a time, yes.
Yeah.
They work. You just have to like wipe it off. Maybe that's why they were taking their time. Like they knew it was 4 people at a time that
Right.
really like it can cut straight through.
Yeah.
And that's why they were these little big pauses.
There was blood on the blade, though.
Yeah.
Oh no, they used it. I just mean the big pauses between groups.
Oh, right.
They're like 4 people. Okay, we're gonna cut their heads off. 4 people.
Right.
Maybe that's
Maybe
what it
they
was.
sharpen in
They were
between.
sharpening between.
Yeah.
All right, but anyway, Sandy is in the group of people who are trying to convince her to avoid the guillotine. It's like, take the mark. Diane is there with her husband, and they're just like, look, just do it. We did it, and we're happy. And of course, Sandy's been with her this whole time. So when you were saying that she was suspect, you were 100% right, because apparently she was the real traitor.
Yep.
Wait, was Sandy the little one?
Yeah, with the Minnie Mouse voice.
I did not catch this. I was not paying attention.
At the very end, it's revealed that she's got the mark right in her forehead.
Well, how is she? Concealer?
She didn't have it before, maybe?
I don't know.
Like, maybe they knew she was like a spy.
They were using her?
Yeah.
Yeah, because she was the one who gave the guy in the park their address. Like, oh, we're staying at this
The barn,
barn.
yeah.
Were they
All right. That's how that's how Unite knew where
And
to go.
it does explain why Jumpsuit Jesus didn't talk to her. It doesn't explain why he didn't talk
He
to
knew.
main character girl, but
It might, though.
oh, part
I might know something about part 3.
Guess what? I don't.
Okay, so let's finish this up. Sandy's the traitor. It's finally revealed after all this time, and Winda gets called up to get her head chopped off. And Diane and her husband try to force Patty to watch, just as we hear that satisfying chunk.
Fa-ching.
Fa-ching, chong.
It reminded me of Bird Box when the guy's like holding her eyes open.
Yeah.
You have to watch. They literally were doing that to her.
Beautiful.
I've never seen it, but now that makes me think of Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, a
Is it
little
similar?
Oh.
Bird Box is not good. Don't bother.
I didn't want to. I didn't care.
It's not good. I hated it.
Oh, Hannah liked it.
I thought it was alright.
I did not like it.
Okay.
It wasn't for me.
There were too many silent movies that came out at the same time. I just
Yeah,
didn't
there's
care.
another one with Stanley Tucci in it.
Which one's? Oh yeah, that just came out, and that's when I'm like, I'm done.
You're like, what's with the silence?
Yeah, I'm just like, yeah. What's the good one?
Quiet Place.
Yeah, The Quiet Place.
Oh.
Great.
I liked it.
Were you with me? Did we see the one where it was like the teenagers who like break into the blind man's house?
I think that was with you.
Yeah, that was
I
more
saw
of a
that.
horror, true horror. That was good. I liked it. Everything after that, I'm like, I don't see the point in watching this.
Yeah.
But yeah, the movie's finally over because we end on the chunk sound. How's the trauma, Hannah?
Well, when I saw the guillotine, when they led her out there before they showed it, I was, oh my god, I know what they're gonna show!
It's a fucking guillotine! I remember this!
That's what, like, scared me to death
Oh my
as a kid.
God.
Like, I don't know why, even in the 90s, I was like, they're gonna use a guillotine! Even though guillotines, like, clearly are not around. Or maybe they are.
I mean, they're
But-
a pig, but maybe like that's the whole point. It's going to be like this crazy old school type of death.
Yeah.
This is actually a repeating trope through Christian fiction about the tribulation. They use guillotines in almost all of it.
I know.
Left
The
Behind.
last time a guillotine was used in France was in the 20th century.
But,
I remember learning that.
I've read every Left Behind book except for one,
Okay.
and they use guillotines to kill in that too.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just they've
I don't
kept
know
it.
why. But yeah, as a kid, I was like, oh my god, my head's gonna get chopped
I think
off.
it calls to mind execution, so they were just like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Why not? It's cool.
Guess when? 1977. The year this movie was made.
Whoa.
September 10th, 1977 was the last guillotined person.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's the movie. What's the best and what's the worst?
Who wants to go first?
I'm going to say that the best is Patty being insane through this entire movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's equal parts like crazy, but also stupid.
Yeah.
Because she's like, I had a dream you were going to kill me. You're going to kill me. Don't tell people that. What the fuck?
Right.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be less trusting after this.
Yeah, go with your gut.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say, I just like the fact that she actually kind of fights back and has some like, gumption.
You're right.
in
I
this
should have said
movie.
that. I should have said that.
Compared, no, I like yours. That was probably my best.
And just Patty like breaking everybody down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Worst. I think I'm afraid of 70s voices. Like, it's not just like it's not just like, oh, that's weird. It's more like, they really put a chill down my spine. Like,
Yeah.
it's creepy.
Very creepy. Yeah.
What about you?
Best would have to be Patty. And I think the budget for the wardrobe went up a little bit.
Good
Alright.
call.
Okay.
They're
Sure.
not
Also
dressed as ridiculous.
Yeah. A little bit of style. Worst. This probably plays into my story a little bit, but the amount of scripture that they were quoting,
Oh my god.
which, I mean, to anyone else would be like, oh, but
Yeah.
you're like, oh, this is such a good thing. They're
Yeah.
backing their biblical beliefs. But for me, I think because of the trauma growing up of like
Yeah.
twisting how they use the Bible,
Yes.
I feel like they used maybe more in this movie versus the first
I
one.
think so too.
Oh, yeah. This is more.
Because it was like used through the radio announcer and like flashbacks. It felt like a lot more scripture was like pulled out.
But they did at the beginning too. Like even before the movie started. they're
Right. And at the
You're right.
end, they put the most commonly quoted, I don't even remember it, but it's like,
Yeah, I remember.
lest
it.
you
I'm not gonna.
Lest you be
beware
judged.
of-"
Like I said earlier, like when they start scripturing, I zone all the way
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. no, me
So, yeah, that part.
I didn't do a worst, but I think my worst is gonna be Patty being. It's a best worst because Patty was feisty and it kind of crazy. She was also stupid as shit.
too. Right.
She's kept doing stupid stuff.
It's true.
So
She's
that's
hard to get behind when you're like watching her make terrible, terrible decisions.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
repeatedly, despite having like foreknowledge of the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever. So let's talk about some things that are like this that they should watch instead. Because I think we're all in agreement that you should not watch this.
No, don't watch this.
I'm gonna go with The Venture Brothers. Is it related? No. Is it good? Yes. Go watch it.
Yeah, let's see. Hannah, anything?
I can't think of anything because end time movies are my least favorite thing in the world.
Yeah, let me think about a movie from the 70s that I think everybody should watch.
Waterworld. No, I'm kidding. That's the 90s.
That is very 90s. I would say watch Harold and Maude.
Okay.
And I'm going to double check right now to make sure that's not late 60s. Because it might be.
Again, is it related? No. Is it good? Yes.
If we're talking about 70s movies,
Oh yeah. What's your favorite 70s movie?
probably
Yes. Sorry.
I think it's called The Wilderness Family. Oh, the best. There's a bear in it. You would like this, Josh.
I'm the bear person.
Oh,
Are there airplanes in it for
Both.
Josh?
there actually is. They have their own personal plane.
Oh shit.
It's like
is it a Cessna?
Is it a biplane?
I don't know. It's just a
being
little
dork
plane
nose.
that lands on the water.
I'm just fucking around.
Anyway, so that from 1975 or Trapper Man. I think that's what it's
I
called.
need to see a picture of the other one. You
Okay.
should, Josh. I wanted to see.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Okay, I love this already.
It's
Wilderness Family. Adventures of the Wilderness Family.
yeah.
Well, you've convinced me.
Whoever made this made like maybe 4 or 5 films total, and they all have this like rustic 70s
Yeah.
vibe to it.
Like Disney World. Like they have the whole wilderness areas, like the Swiss Family Robinson, and there's like Robinson Crusoe, and yeah, Davy Crockett. Like, yeah.
All right. So now let's talk about what we were doing next week. Are you done? Or are you gonna do Trapper Man?
I found it. It's called Challenge to Be Free. This one also has a bear.
Sweet.
Made in the same year. Don't know how they had the budget for both, but hey.
This bear looks meaner, but I'm always on the bear's side when people are fighting bears.
Yeah. Pretty great.
Every bear's better than every human.
Well, yes, and also, why are you near the bear?
That's fair.
Don't go to somebody else's house and get mad when they attack you.
That's true. All right, so let's talk about what we were doing next week.
Okay.
Who wants to be our reader today?
Is she going to be doing it with us?
No.
It doesn't matter. You want to be a part of this? No. Hannah, tell me. Tell me what I'm watching.
Homecoming Kids. God's Zoo.
Homecoming Kids, God's Zoo. I don't know much about this. I found it. It's tangentially related to Gaither's Pond.
Oh, no.
Because Vestal Goodman is involved. That's
no. Okay, just the voice?
Wait.
Just her as a woman, yeah.
Is it computer animated?
No.
Okay.
It is just one of those it looks like one of those normal kids shows where kids run around and do stupid adventures and occasionally sing. Like Salty the Songbook or something.
Gotcha.
Which isn't pleasant.
No.
But it should not be Gaither's Pond terrible.
Okay, great.
So don't worry.
Totally looking forward to that.
I think, at least. And apparently this one's about a zoo, so we'll find out.
Animals.
Animals.
Unless the kids are the animals.
Maybe there's a goat.
And they're trapped in a zoo.
We can see a cute goat.
Why goat? Is that your favorite animal in a zoo?
No, I just think of goats when I think of zoos.
Oh, that's funny. You petting zoos.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
Oh, I don't think of that at all.
Yeah. I'm sure they have some goats in some zoos. But...
Well, they always have like a petting section, usually.
Yeah.
They did, well, at least in Atlanta.
Oh, you know why it is? Because I was at a zoo. I was at the petting part of it, and I saw a goat take a big-ass shit. So I always think of goats when I think of petting zoos.
I'm morally against zoos, so I would never pay to go to one.
I haven't been to a zoo since then. And remember, everybody, if you like the show, and how could you not, please give us a 5-star review on whatever podcast app or service you are using, and tell your friends about us, and your foes about us, and your acquaintances about us any way that you can. We have stickers.
We have stickers. We have magnets.
We have it all. Just ask for one. Links to everything are in the description of this episode, and you can also go to the website where you can send us a comment or a question for an inevitable mailbag. Anything you want to close out with? Hannah, do you have some social media you want to talk about? Nope,
Where can
that's
people
okay.
follow you?
Nope.
Groovy.
Even easier.
If you want anything baked while I'm still in Atlanta, hit me up.
Hit you up. How, though? Email me.
Email
I'll
Josh.
forward
Ask
it.
Josh.
Yes.
And as always, thank you so much for listening.
Thanks, guys.
We appreciate your attention and affection.
We like you a bit.
Bye.
Bye.